It's an exciting night. Bez Hashem, we're going to finish Masechta Tainis tomorrow. We're going to start Masechta Megillah. Okay, we're discussing the reasons why Tu B'Av was considered a Yontif. So we gave one reason, that there was the time intermarriage between the Shvatim. There was a shidduch crisis. And what was the problem, fellas? If a woman would marry a man and the woman inherited her father, the husband would go ahead and inherit the woman, and therefore the inheritance would go from one Shevet to the other Shevet. And we wanted to keep it intact. But they stopped that by only that with Dafka Machbid by Benois Slavchad. The next, so that they permitted to go ahead and intermarry occurred on Tu B'Av, and thus it was what a Yontif. A second reason we gave, we said after the horrible civil war of Plegish Begiva, where as a result there were 600 men that were left from Shevet Binyamin, and we ended up 400 married a woman from Yavesh Gilad who were not present when they swore not to give their daughters to Binyamin, and 200 were left over. Tu B'Av was the day they permitted their sons' daughters, their granddaughters, to marry into Shevet Binyamin and save Shevet Binyamin. So let's pick it up there. Yesterday I went through it quickly. Let's go again. 2 lines from the bottom, right? And we're going to change the girsa. Rav Dimi bar Yosef Amar Rav Nachman, right? Yom shekolu ba Mesei Midbar. It's the day that the Mesei Midbar stopped dying. Fascinating Rashi, guys. Let's see Rashi. We have time. Shekolu Mesei Midbar on the left side. Dove on the left side. The italic letters. The Tanya Kol Arboyim Shana Shahoyu b'Midbar. The Chol Erev Tisha B'Av. Every Erev Tisha B'Av, Hoya Cruz. They would call out, Yoitzev Omer, Tzu Lachbar, go dig a grave. And every Tisha B'Av, the Erev Tisha B'Av, they would lie down in their graves. And they would sleep there. And Shema Yamas Kaidim Shiachbar. Maybe they would go ahead and die before they got a chance to dig the grave. So they would sleep in their grave. Ulamachar HaKruz Yoitze, V'Kaira, Yibodlu Chaim in Amesim. They would call out, let the live go ahead and come up and separate from the dead. And anyone who was alive, each year came. They went ahead and did the same thing. When the cruise went out, live people get up. They wanted. Maybe we blew it. Maybe we made a mistake in the Chaydesh, and we didn't know. They didn't know it was the end. They went back and lie down in their graves. Till the night of Chamisha Asa. And the new moon, guys, is by Tesvav, so they knew clearly that what? It was the 15th day. They knew they were exact. And the memshana of the gezerah of Meraglim was concluded. That dar was kaveya Tu B'Av is Yantiv. Well, this the second year, right? Second year.
It took them 6 days to realize for sure that they didn't make a mistake in the fight.
I guess so. Could be not you don't see the Anania covered. It could be they didn't see it so clearly, right? It could be anywhere, but again, it could be anyway. So I saw a very nice shot. I saw from Shalish Chubas Chavis Yoyer. He writes at the end of the Sefer that the only time they never died was on Shabbos. In other words, if Tisha B'Av fell out on Shabbos, they didn't die. They used to die in Tisha B'Av. They used to die in Tisha B'Av. That's when they died. If Tisha B'Av fell out on Shabbos, they never died. They never died in Tisha B'Av. And that's why when Tisha B'Av falls out on Shabbos, we're not knowing that Allah is a Tisha B'Av on Shabbos. Knowing that Allah is a Tisha B'Av on Shabbos. Because, yeah, that's right. It's fascinating. That's why it's the Shalish Chuvas Chavis Yar at the end of the Sefer.
That's not why isn't that one of the reasons why we're fasting on Tisha B'Av? That's hundreds of thousands of Jews died over there.
Again, we said Tisha B'Av was the day that was Kaveya for the Meraglim. Meraglim, we did say it. That was one of the 5 occurrences. So it is one of the reasons, right? That's included in it. But according to it's fascinating. No one died. In other words, the year fell on Tisha B'Av, so they didn't die that year. And Nachinam, didn't die that year.
We did say that when I saw somebody years ago when I looked at that the last year that they died, it was the tefillah, the Koyach tefillah, because they overturned our Kadosh Baruch Hu said every year they're going to die. But this year they knew that there's no one left. It was tefillah shlema. Because usually it's a 50% chance. Let's say the year before, 50% chance.
What they saw that everyone who was possible of the age would die.
Right. So they were the last.
So
year.
then,
They knew they were going to.
So why were they in Masupik that year?
Because they knew there was no other.
They said it's not possible. Kadosh Baruch Hu said this.
So then, if that's the case, then why would they, according to that, it's conflicting measures to this because they weren't that sure.
Because
you needed two ba'av to go ahead and prove it. Now, if it's a din in the people, they should know clearly anyone who was above a certain age is dead.
Right.
So it's a conflicting measure.
No, because they were sitting in, they were about that everyone to die. So he said it's not possible. We woke up the next morning, we were alive. We have to go back
The
in.
years before, there was only 50-50.
The chance, the year before. Exactly.
Because Rabbi, they didn't know ad va'ad b'chlal, whether if you were exactly 60 or 20, if you're included, if you were half a year or not. That's why the last year they were still masupik.
I'm looking at a black screen. I don't take voices from Yehuda, how are you? Regards to Moshe Yerucham.
Thank you.
Watching this year on 31st Street.
He works. Don't listen to that. I'm glad you muted. You don't have to hear that. You can't make fun of the guys who've been in Shia for many, many years. I have some other guys if you want, but not the guys. The guys who have tenure. You have to.
First time he was in my class. I make fun of Alice in my class.
And besides, they're a lot bigger than you.
He was in my class.
I was always bigger than him.
Okay. Anyway, weiter. So very good. So that on two ba'av guys, that wonderful thing occurred, that wonderful event. Therefore, they would convey it as a yontif. Let's finish up. Now, it's not possible to say there wasn't Dibur with Moshe because Moshe spoke to Kadosh Baruch Hu throughout the years. So what do you mean there wasn't Dibur with Moshe? So if you look at Rashi, guys, there was a different dargis of Askalas Hashkina. So Moshe did not feel the biyichud, the oneness and the chiba that was there before. But of course, he communicated with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's a pshat that he only see a division at night, but the Rashi doesn't like that pshat. So now, all the people died. That's when the Dibur came to Moshe. Ula Amar Yoim Shebitul Hoshea ben Allah. Let's change the gersa. Ben Nevad al Drachim. Yisrael L'Regel. We spoke about this many times. Let's just go over it again. Shlomo had a son Rechavam, and during this reign of Rechavam, Yeravim ben Nevat, he took 10 Shvatim up north, and he started a new kingdom. And it wasn't Melech Yehuda; it was Melech Yisrael. So the Malchus was split between Rechavam, Melech Yehuda, and the two Shvatim that were there were Binyamin and Yehuda, and the Kahanim and Levi, and the other 10 Shvatim were up north. But in order to go ahead and keep his power, this Rasha Yeravam, what did he do? He went ahead and he built 2 golden calves to be served as Avodah Zarah, and he put roadblocks up so no person would be able to be Oil Regel. This Rasha, Hoshea ben Allah, was a Rasha. He was the last king of Yisrael. In his days, Sancheirav came and took the 10 Shvatim into Golus. Yeah, the machlokas whether they came back or not. And what he did that day that he took down the roadblocks that we were able to go up was 2 b'shvat, 2 b'av. So now, for Amar Aleph, he gave him a choice. You want to stay here with the golden calves? Stay here with the golden calves. You want to be oil l'regel to Yerushalayim? Then be oil l'regel to Yerushalayim. Rav Masda Amar, Yoim shenitnu haruge Beitar l'kfura. Beitar, this is after the Churban Bayis. There was a lot of Jews, a multitude of Jews in the city of Beitar. It's famous for the rebellion of Bar Koziba, also known as Bar Kochba. The Romans came and they slaughtered. The numbers are astronomical. According to Yosef, when a crazy amount of people, and they didn't let them get buried. So for Amar Rav Masna, Oisa Yoim shenitnu haruge Beitar l'kfura, that day that they permitted to bury the haruge of Beitar, tiknu biyavne hatoy v'ameitiv. In the bracha that we say in benching of hatoy v'ameitiv, right? That was matukin that day, right? Hatoy shloi isrichu toiv that what they didn't putrefy. That they were given permission to go and bury them So again, so a wonderful thing happened on Tu B'Av. So let's go ahead and recount. What do we have so far? We have it's the day that the Shvarim were allowed to intermarry. We have the day that Binyamin was allowed in. We have the day that the Mesei Midbar stopped dying, and we have the day that Hoshea permitted the people to be Allah Yerushalayim from the 10 Shvatim. Rabbi Yosef the army Travayu, Mamish, look at all the things that happened on Tu B'Av. Yom Shepasku Melichres Eitzim L'Maracha. It was the day they stopped cutting Eitzim from Maracha. So outside for a second. The wood for the Maracha was, again, very difficult because you couldn't have any worms in it. The worms only count when it's moist. But moist is so relative. If you speak about moist, there could be a moisture that feels dry and still moist. The Tu B'Av, after Tu B'Av, the sun loses its koyach vis-a-vis drying up wood, and therefore you'd have to worry about worm in the wood. So the day of Tu B'Av, year to year, that was the day, and that was the day they went ahead, and in the mitzvah of Koros Eitzim, they would go ahead and cut it. So that was the yontif. They made a big deal about it, this was the day that you concluded the Eitzim for the Mizbeach. So the Tanya Rabbi Eliezer Gadol Omer, right? From the 50th day and onwards, the strength of the sun weakens. They would no longer cut eitzim for the pyre on the mizbeach. If you're any evasion, because they don't dry out, and then you have the worm problem. As a matter of fact, there's a very nice Ramban. It says Vayashkim Avram Abayka, right? And he cracked the wood. Why was Avram busy cracking the wood for the Akedah? It's because he was worried about worms. He was worried about worms. That's why he did it himself. He was worried that it shouldn't be wormy. They called it the day of the breaking of the axe or the saw. This is the day that Tu B'Av is the day you broke it because no longer did you go ahead and cut wood. From that day and onwards, the Moisif Yosef, the nights got longer. So Yosef, you can learn longer. Udalei Moisif, and the one who doesn't, Yosef, right? And if you don't learn and take advantage, you will be taken before your time. My Yosef, I'm Rabbi Yosef. Tikbrei Ime, his mother will bury him. Very somber thought that people should go ahead, right? Should go ahead and learn. Okay, so and another two B'Av Shem Bnei Yisrael Yotzim, they would go out and they would borrow clothing from each other. B'nai Yerushalayim, they borrow clothing, and they would dance in the vineyard. And why would they borrow clothing? So you won't be able to tell who was rich and who wasn't. You won't be able to tell who's rich and who wasn't. So it says, Tanabanan, Bas Melech Shayeles mi Bas Kayin. Bas Melech, who was the princess, she would borrow from the Bas Kayin Gadol. Bas Kayin Gadol mi Bas Sagan. That was the second one in charge. Who Bas Sagan mi Beis Meshuach Milchama, would borrow from the Beis Meshuach Milchama. So you're going down the hierarchy of great people in Klal Yisrael, of positionally the great people in Klal Yisrael. Bas Meshuach Milchama, Bas Kayin Hedid would borrow from Kayin Hedid. The Klal Yisrael and all the rest of Yisrael Shalom Zemizeh. And why would they borrow from each other? That you should embarrass somebody who doesn't have. In other words, people would know since it's borrowed, you can't go ahead and say about the status of this person. They say borrowed. This is not the big day Kohen Gadol.
No, I know, but the big day, the princess's clothing.
It's fine. Kol HaKelim Tunim Tefillah. Well, again, all the Kelim Tunim Tefillah, Al Snida, they'd have to go ahead and put it in the mikvah. Al Snida, it's Tami, needs a Avatuma. She's Tami Adam V'Kelim, she's Tami Begadim. So you have to put it in the mikvah. Even if they were folded over in a kufsa, they would have to go ahead and Shlal Yevayish, they would have to go ahead and put it in the mikvah. They would go out and dance in the kramim. Again, this was in ancient times. Guys, the people from Binyamin got their 200 girls from this Tu B'Av. This is from the beginning. This isn't something Bisman bias. This preceded the Malchus. This took place again. Binyamin got their girls from the dancing girls. So obviously it was like Sadie Hawkins Day for
It's a
that.
singles event.
The cover of my brother Mechel.
Never
It's
was-
Sadie Hawkins Day, if anyone knows what that is.
Anything inappropriate.
If you're shaking your head, it's not good, Kenny. Yehuda, of course, Yehuda, Jeopardy, right? Little Abner for 500, Yehuda. Anyway, so they go out and they dance, and no, it's from the beginning of time. It seems like so they had mixes. they had mixes.
Singles events.
Yeah, like that events they happen. Okay, says no. Miuchesa shebehen hayomeres bachar. Each one has said something. But then now the Gemara is going to go ahead and elaborate. Yofiyah shebehen mahoya oimrais. The beautiful ones among them. Now the shir mitzvah belach is medagbek, the double lashon. You should say yofi, right? They say yofiyos. This means that's like a double lashon. That were incredibly beautiful. Like Yirak means incredibly green. Adam dum means incredibly red. And dum is red. But when you double it down, you're saying it's incredible. So over here, we're saying is that they were very pretty. Tanu einechem liyofi. Should get right. Shein isha elo liyofi. Yuches sheben mayomeres tanu einechem limishpacha. Shein isha elo lebon. The purpose of a woman is to provide children. Yucheses will know how to go ahead and raise the children. Those who are not so attractive, take your purchase, l'shem shemayim, right? Provided, and this Rashi says is just something they said. Shetatrunu b'zuhuvim. You should go ahead and be misatem b'zuhuvim. Now I have another pshat over here, a beautiful pshat. Listen to this. This is a great pshat. There's a Gemara on Daf Samech Gimel in the Gemara in the Dorim. The Gemara says that. And Daf Samech Vav, B'nais Yisrael Noyes Hein, all Jewish girls are beautiful. Elisha Niyos Min Avlasam. It's poverty that goes ahead and impoverishes them. So it says the Shur Mitzvah B'Alacha that when he said over here, take Vacha, you go ahead and put jewelry on and makeup on, right? And then the Yofi will be there. The Yofi will be there because the Gemara says that the Jewish girls are Yofi. Elisha Harold, put your head in the Gemara. Amula Biroi says Ula Biroi, Amar Rebbe Laza, Asana Kodesh Baruch Hu Lasas Machal with Tzadikim, just as there was a Machal for what for the girls, Kodesh Baruch Hu is being Machal at Tzadikim, Bu Yoshe Beinehem, he's going to sit among them, Began Eden, and V'chalecha V'echem Arabat Spoy, and each person is going to point out Kodesh Baruch Hu, and I'm going to leave this pasuk so all of you can make a siyum on the Sechta Tainus, right? Shabbos siyum again. If there's
Let's
interest.
do it this week. What day this week?
What?
What day this week?
What day this week? What?
Thursday night.
What? Thursday night, I'm sure people have things to do. You're going away?
How about,
Wednesday night?
Wednesday night.
So be it. Wednesday night, we'll have a
We'll do the
CM.
same thing. We'll do the same thing, Les. I'll order that stuff.
Okay, that worked the last time, right?
Oh, yes, last time was perfect.
Yeah, we'll have food. It was reasonable. If anyone wants to chip in $15 like last time, it would be appreciated.
Or if you didn't chip in last time, $15, you can still.
Okay, and you owe me money because I gave 50. Okay, anyway, but who's counting? Anyway, so wishing everyone a mazel tov. Bez Hashem, Wednesday night we'll have a siyum, and tomorrow night, 8:15, we'd like to see everyone here from Masechta Megillah.
Yes, Hashem, please God.
Let me just begin. We'll begin Masechta Megillah just to say the first Mishnah, a little bit of the first Mishnah. Okay. Megillah Nikras B'Yud Aleph B'Yud Beis Yud Gimel Yud Daled. Now, and B'Tesvav. We all know that the Megillah is read on Yud Daled. Yud Daled is what in the open cities is Purim. Tesvav, we know we call Shushan Purim because any city that was walled Mimei Yeshua Binun, right, is and the only one we have is Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is that Tferia, I think it's a Shaila. I'm not sure about Tferia, but Yerushalayim was walled between Yeshua Binun and that city. We keep it if you're in Yerushalayim, you do it on Tesvav. Now, it's possible to be Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, Yud Gimel. Why? Right? Krochim hamukafin chaymi mos Yeshua Binun. The krochim that were surrounded by walls in the days of Yeshua Binun. Why don't we say B'nei Achashverosh? Why Yeshua Binun? You have to come tomorrow to find an answer to that. Karim b'Tesvav, they would go ahead and be Tesvav. Kfarim b'Yoros Gedolos, Karim b'Yadalit. Ella, I will see you the rest tomorrow.
Shkaya. Good night. Mazel tov.
Sure.